We probably all have bad habits or certain modes of conduct that we'd like to change. And from time to time we make resolutions, we make decisions that we're going to be different. But what happens most of the time is that our discipline, our self-discipline fails us and we go back to old patterns. We have in this week's PARSHA a wonderful piece of advice how we can break these patterns. The PARSHA tells us that when Hashem took the Jewish people out of Egypt, He did not take them via the direct route. This was the route that the merchants, the peddlers, the tradesmen and businessmen that traveled from Egypt to Israel would take the route. That was a familiar route. And the Jewish people were familiar with that route also. That was called, the Torah calls that the close route. It's close to them because they know it. It's close, it's the close route to getting to Israel. Hashem did not take them the close route. Instead, as Rabbi explains, He took them the roundabout route through the desert. What's the reason? What's the rationale behind that? Why a roundabout route through the desert? The answer is that once we're in a new environment, once we're in a new place, it's easier for us to break old patterns. We come into a new place and we feel like new people. It's totally unfamiliar, it's totally new, it's totally refreshing. And therefore we're happy to be new people in a new place. By changing the environment, by going on a different route, it was easier for the Jewish people who had been slaves to Pharaoh for decades and decades to break that slave mentality and to be ready for the challenges of the desert. And even though they would suffer setbacks, there would be problems along the road, problems along the route, nevertheless, they are new people in a new environment. This is a device that we can also use. If we want to make changes in our lives, to help us cement these changes, let's try changing our environment. Let's try and change the setup, where it is that we operate, where possible. Even if it's as small as changing one's furniture around, trying to create for us a new environment, and that can help us to adopt new patterns of conduct, new patterns of behavior, and good habits. We all need good habits. To have a good habit is a strength. It's something that fortifies us and supports us. So let's use the device of the Torah of creating new environments for our success and happiness.